So in this video, we're going to break down where confidence and certainty actually comes from. Most people get it wrong. And what you and your clients need to do to get in motion. What we have recognized over the last, specifically, I'd say over the last 2 years, but I've been looking into this ever since I've been helping coaches get certified or confident as coaches and then build their business. So I've been in this like deep dive lab of trying to understand why coaches fail and why coaches succeed, or what's the difference between the ones that fail and the ones that succeed. In the last couple of years, we've been running programs and really dissecting and trying to find the actual ingredients of what's missing, right? And one of the biggest things is that people just simply don't understand the process. They don't understand the process that's required to become a really good coach, or the process that's required to build a business. And so many people are actually doing the right things. This is what's so hard to take sometimes, right? It makes us sad. People are actually doing the right things and getting the right results, but they've convinced themselves that they're doing it wrong. They've convinced themselves that it's going too slow. They've convinced themselves that it should be different. Their journey should be different. And when the mind is determined to be miserable, it absolutely will. It can find all kinds of reasons to create misery. And when people want to become coaches, the majority of the misery that they feel is all self-created, almost entirely based on false expectations. So you think it's going to take a certain thing, and it takes a completely different thing to either become confident, to get your first coaching client, to build a business, to attract people online, to build a community. So what I really want you to get is the reality, right? I'm not into the way people wish it was. That's what so many people are buying. That's what so many people are selling. Is let me sell you the dream that you wish it was. Let me sell you how easy you want it to be. And so we get caught up in these shortcuts and we're tempted to buy them. And it's all a function of our expectations. And there just aren't a whole lot of people, in my experience, that say, I'm in this for the long haul. Whatever it's going to take, I'm in it. And I'm so committed that even if I fall down and I get some bumps and bruises and some scrapes and I get my feelings hurt and I do some things that cause my ego to be shattered, or I do some things that cause me to fail, or I lose some money, or I waste some time, I'm still in it because it's worth it. Not a whole lot of people actually bring that level of commitment and conviction to the coaching industry. And I believe one of the reasons is because we're told that you don't have to do all that. Yeah, you just want to just get right to the top of the hill and overcome all the obstacles and get the guarantees and all that sort of stuff. So at a high level, that's what's happening, I believe, for almost everybody who ends up not succeeding as a coach. In this training, I want to break down one of those elements that people, I think, have a misunderstanding of and then create false expectations of, which is confidence and certainty. And I want to break down how those two things are different. Confidence is what most people are looking for. Confidence is what most people are talking about. Confidence is what most people say they need more of before they take action. So if I felt better about the way I looked, the way I sounded, the way I taught, my lighting, if I had more confidence, then I would do more videos. If I had more confidence, then I would put more of my stuff out there. Then I would put myself out there. If you know that that's part of your internal chatter, that if you had more confidence, you would, and then just fill in the blank, then let me know that I'm not the only one. And that's still true for me today in certain areas of my business that are beyond the comfort zone of what I'm used to and what I'm familiar with. So this is a human journey when it comes to evolution. The only way to get confidence in the thing that you're waiting to be confident to do is to do the thing without confidence. Let me say that again. I don't know if it came out as clearly of my mouth as it was in my head. The only way to get confidence in the thing that you're waiting to be confident doing before you do is to do the thing before you're confident. It's the only way. One of the main components of building a business is resiliency and living with the uncertainty of, I don't know how it's going to go. I don't know if people are going to like this particular title. I don't know if I'm going to be able to do Facebook Lives and get comfortable with it. I don't know how this is going to play out, but I'm going to do it anyway because I can't not. I'm going to do it anyway because it's worth it. I'm going to do it anyway because somebody out there needs me to figure this out. And they don't need me to get confident before I do it. They need to share the lessons that I don't know. And I don't give a damn if they do it in their sweatpants. And I don't care if the lighting isn't good. They have lessons that I need. So shame on them if they're waiting for them to feel great about their appearance before they give me the lessons that I need in my life. That's what somebody out there is seeking about the lessons that you have in your head, about the lessons that I have in things that I haven't done as well. So again, this is a human journey when it comes to evolution. But we got to see what's really going on. So the first problem is that the way to get confidence is by doing it without confidence. The second problem is very rarely, I don't think I've ever heard anybody be able to answer the question, how will you know when you are confident? In any kind of way that's actually tangible or meaningful or realistic. Because people think confidence is a feeling. And so the answer to that question is some version of, well, I would just feel confident. But what that really means is I won't feel the butterflies. I won't feel the fear. I won't have the doubts. I won't have the worries. So we think confidence is the absence of those feelings that I'm telling you are required. I'm telling you, if you give a damn about what you're saying and you give a damn about anybody that you could be reading or reaching rather, you will have butterflies. You will have doubts. You will have worries, especially when you're relatively new. I would be more concerned if you didn't have internal resistance around something that you haven't done before, because that would tell me that you don't care about the thing that you're doing and you don't care about the people on the other side. So if you care, you'll probably have these things that you're telling yourself you need to not have in order to feel confidence. And that's why very rarely does anybody check the box like, okay, now I feel confident, because confidence is an internal and intellectual construct of the ego. The ego says, I will be confident when I no longer feel these yucky feelings that I think is a sign of weakness, or I think is a sign of vulnerability, or I think is something to be concerned with. So the intellect manufactures this idea of what confidence is, more importantly, what confidence isn't, and very rarely do any of us ever cross that line according to the intellect. So we'll never know when it's time that we're actually confident enough to do the thing. So I want you to get that confidence is not a feeling, even though we language it like that. Confidence is a construct of the intellect, and it's based on what the intellect believes we need to be prepared. But the intellect thinks the way that we should feel confident is by preparing to the point where we won't fail. That right there is why this all goes to crap for most people, because we think if we're positive that we won't fail, then we're going to be confident. And until we cross that line, we don't have internal permission to go. We don't have internal permission to try. We don't have internal permission to do something less than perfect unless we cross that line. Confidence lives in your head. And what I also want you to know is that confidence is actually not important to your client anyway. So the thing that most of us are waiting for, number one, isn't possible, nor is it realistic. It's based on a construct from the intellect that's ridiculous anyway, and nobody cares. Nobody cares. Your facade of confidence cannot hide the lack of certainty that you have in your body. The illusion of confidence cannot hide the experience of the lack of certainty. Your clients need certainty, not your confidence. Your clients need your certainty to convince them that they should follow you, to convince them that they should listen to you, to convince them that they should hire you. Certainty is what you're after. Confidence is what the mind seeks. In terms of value, certainty is 100 times more valuable than confidence. But most people put the target on confidence, but they don't know how to shoot the arrow to confidence because they misunderstand what it actually is. So they don't know how to increase their confidence. And they miss the whole boat on certainty. Nobody cares about most of the things that most coaches who are struggling think people care about. Nobody cares. Most of the time, the things that we think we need, nobody cares about. Like, if I had a list of all the things that people think they need, whether it's a website or a signature program or the subtitle, like, who am I, right? So-and-so is America's transformational coach. I don't have that. I haven't had that for 15 years. We made over $6 million. Like, nobody cares. Nobody cares about the things that most of us think they care about to keep us stuck. But I get it. I get it that we think they care about it because that's the way our mind works. And we need to understand what transformation actually is. And we need to understand what building a transformational coaching business actually is. And we need to understand why people hire transformational coaches and why they buy what they want to buy. And I'm just telling you, it's usually not what we think it is. And that's why people stay stuck. Certainty is an embodied feeling. It's a conviction. It's a solidness in your body that you know, that you know, that you know. And certainty is based on the past. It's not based on the future. Confidence is based on the avoidance of failure in the future. Certainty is based on knowing that you've gotten up after failure in the past, or you've dealt with some false expectation in the past. Certainty is based on what you know about what you've already experienced. That's certainty. Nobody can deny certainty because it's in the past, it's already done, and it lives in the body. We can always deny or challenge or question future confidence because the mind will go crazy. What if you forget your words? And what if they ask a question you don't know the answer to? And what if they ask something that triggers the wound that you haven't healed yet? What if? The mind will go crazy in the what if game, but you can't deny what your body feels. That's the key distinction. And here's the thing. Most of you have certainty in something that you don't have confidence in. And that's why you're holding yourself back. And there are people right now that would pay for your certainty, but not for the thing that you're trying to get confident in, because that's not real for you. And there's an illusion happening. And if we're trying to fake ourselves into believing we're confident about something in the future, we can't fake somebody else into believing something that we're trying to fake ourselves into. And if this is stinging for any of you, just know that this is the reality. And I'm really just talking about my experiences because I've gone through all of this stuff. This is the plan. This is the game. And most of us don't recognize the value that we actually have in our certainty because we're so focused on trying to get the value in the confidence, in the thing that we're trying to be confident about. So if you're thinking that there's something in you as far as lessons that you've learned that people would pay for, and it's not sitting well with you, that you're not offering it to them, good. Good. Every coach that I'm thinking of in my mind has gotten to that level of irritation, and they've had some kind of self-reflective, self-irritating moment of how dare I keep this from them. We're so caught up in what do I need to do to get that from them? And usually what that is money. What do I need to do to get that from them? What do I need to do to get them to hire me? What do I need to do to gain something will, in my experience, never get you over the emotional hurdles. But how dare I keep this that's in me from them because it could change their life? That's a whole different game. And if that's irritating to you, congratulations. If it's irritating to you, out yourself. It's not that we're outing yourself as much as just letting all of us know that we're not the only ones. We're not the only ones that feels irritated, but I want the irritation to be fuel for action, not fuel for punishment. You're not going to punish your way into fulfillment. You're not going to punish your way into healthy success. So I don't want you to use that irritation to beat yourself up, but I want you to use the irritation to get in motion and just decide, I have to do this. But understand that certainty from a coaching standpoint is based upon experiences as a coach or in the coaching conversation. Now, if any of you want to be a coach, you're struggling to build your business, you're struggling to do the actions, you're struggling to get people to hire you, and you haven't hired a coach, listen, we're just going to stop sugarcoating this. If you haven't hired a coach and you're trying to sell coaching, it's fraud. That's my belief, that it's fraud. But aside from that, if you haven't hired a coach, then you don't have certainty in your body about why somebody would say yes to a coach and what a coach can provide for you. So if you're not a client of the product, how are you going to sell the product? Especially in this game. And if you're not a client of the product and don't have confidence in the product nor certainty in the product, I say this with all love and advocacy, there's no chance. Now, all of those things can be shifted, but not with any kind of shortcut. You're not going to shortcut your way into the embodied certainty of transformation and then try to become a transformational coach. So the good news is, I believe every single person can transform, but most people will choose not to. They'll choose not to because of the misery that I was talking about earlier and the expectations, and they want it to be easy, and they have certain demands that, you know, they're totally committed to transform as long as we can get it done by Thursday afternoon because I got somewhere to go. If you have those kinds of expectations, then it's not going to happen for you. But most people will choose not to do something that they're capable of doing. And the same thing goes with coaching. If you want to be a transformational coach that will command clients, not chase and demand clients, not try to outmarket your lack of certainty, not try to outmarket and create a facade or overcompensate for your inadequacy. If you're the kind of person that's willing to do what it takes to command the clients because the magnet that you put out is so strong with your certainty, then every single one of you can learn that. There is a process and you can learn it. But most people are trying to jump over the process of certainty and trying to get right to the success of money. And number one, it's not going to work that way. But number two, how dare we try to do that, right? Like these are people's lives How dare we try to jump over our training and then have the audacity to try to get somebody to hire us? It's just not how this works. But what I want you to really assess for yourself is your level of certainty. And here's what I know. If you're not building the business that you want, if you don't have the certainty in your ability to change somebody's life to the point where you can't not do this, to the point where even your internal fears won't keep you off camera, won't keep you off social media or building a blog or whatever the platforms are that you've chosen. If you haven't crossed that point where your internal fears are inadequate in stopping you from getting this message out, then you just haven't crossed that line and you're not certain enough yet. The recipe that you're following just doesn't have the right ingredients. And for most coaches, especially new, that ingredient is certainty. It's not confidence. It's certainty. There's a process. Now, if you like this video, check out that video where I break down the 6-step framework for maximum client results. Transformation never will be convenient, never has been convenient. So we want to know if there's a reason to change right now.